Do you want to know what exactly happened to the smiling critters? Did they all die, or could one have survived for us to see in Poppy Playtime Chapter 4? Hello everyone! We know we have small versions of these monsters as toys. So far we've only seen Catnap and Dog Day, but will they return in Chapter 4? In this video, we'll try to understand what each smiling critter wanted to tell us, and we'll know if any will be in the following chapter. Thanks to Playtime Co., we have a story about humans and monsters dying. One of those monsters was one of our smiling critters. Catnap was killed by the prototype, and Dog Day was eaten by those toys. But where did the others go? Dog Day said they were definitely there. Also, the dying Dog Day said he was the last smiling critter. But why didn't he mention Catnap, who was still alive? Are they all dead? Maybe Catnap was the only crazy monster, and the rest weren't bad. Even their toys are pretty hard to call evil. Let's talk about Catnap first. We saw him die, but is there a possibility to see him in the future chapter? I can say yes, we saw his death, but his body was taken by the prototype. I'm sure the prototype will be the main villain in the next chapter, and Catnap will help him again. Catnap might look different, but the prototype could make him better, and we'll see our cat with a new look. Now let's talk about the others. First up is Dog Day, whose death was shown to us in Chapter 3. It's a mystery how he lasted until we got there, since we only heard about the other critters. Then all those copy toys showed up and started eating Dog Day's body, taking control of him. They'll probably finish him off soon, and we won't see him again unless the prototype gets involved. But I want to point out a detail. We heard Dog Day's voice message on the card, telling us to rush to him. What if we can find out the others' fates through these cards?
Go! As far as you can! You can't be here. You can't stay.
With the smiling critters, the developers gave us a clue. Remember the 2D animation? We saw sleeping critters with Catnap calmly sitting. That could just be a theory. His posture is exactly as he died. Maybe the others died the same way. Unfortunately, I'm sure Dog Day won't appear in Poppy Playtime anymore. His life was already hanging by a thread when we met him, and after being eaten, he couldn't help anyone. The prototype won't be able to save such a weak character. Let's talk about the ones we haven't seen. First is Bubbafint. We only see him in videos or as a toy. In the cartoon, he's in a weird pose. The scream at the end tells us our elephant is probably dead. Maybe Catnap or the others had something to do with it. All of his lines are likely about elephants having great memories, and sadly, the last thing he remembered was his death cry. We'll never see him again. Next is Kickin' Chicken. We don't see his big version, so our chicken is dead. I wonder if we were told where Kickin' Chicken died. Apparently, he went outside his home area and into the street. Maybe Catnap saw that as betrayal since the chicken wanted to escape. I wouldn't be surprised if Kickin' Chicken really wanted to get out, since what happened at Playcare was crazy. Maybe the chicken was one of the critters who didn't support the prototype in Catnap. He tried to leave Playcare, but not the street itself, but that couldn't save him from a terrible death. It gets more interesting. If Kickin' Chicken wanted to leave, meeting him in Chapter 4 would be very important. I'd like to know what he discovered, and maybe even escape with him. He may not be the same as in Chapter 3, but that would be very interesting. This possibility can't be ignored. Time to talk about the most controversial critter, Picky Piggy. Here's a spoiler. Picky Piggy doesn't scream like the others. Instead, she says strange, creepy things about her friends. The offer of friendship was tempting, but I would have turned it down. She says she wouldn't mind eating her friends. Of course, not all critters, but the references to Kickin' Chicken, Crafty Corn, and Bubbafint are clear, which led to the question, was Picky Piggy working with Catnap? Maybe their actions seemed odd, so Catnap decided to destroy her. Or perhaps Picky Piggy wasn't loyal to the prototype, so Catnap punished her, but he ordered him to kill 3 of his friends. If Picky Piggy was as loyal as Catnap, why not save her and make her a Chapter 4 boss? Then there's the cute green rabbit, Hoppy Hopscotch, who is not mentioned with the others. What happened to her? There's no sign that she was killed. I have 2 theories. Maybe Hoppy Hopscotch was just minding her own business, but something went wrong, and she crashed. She was trying to escape and almost made it, but at the last moment, the prototype or Catnap killed her. I'm more sure of the first one. Her appearance in Chapter 4 is almost impossible. She's not loyal to the prototype, has no fan base, and couldn't be a strong character. Let's say goodbye to our cute green bunny. It's time for the teddy bear, Bobby Bear Hug. Like Picky Piggy, she doesn't scream. But I didn't hear anything weird. She's just asking for help, as if her spirit is talking to us. Maybe Bobby Bear Hug hoped someone could save her. When she found out her friends had died, she was scared and asked us to take her away. Importantly, we didn't hear any screaming. That means she's the only Ritter who's definitely alive. There's a theory that each character is linked to the previous one. After Bobby Bear Hug, we saw the alive Dog Day, so the next is Crafty Corn. You could say that's nonsense since we started with catnap, but let's not compare them. It's interesting that Crafty Corn says we can't go outside. That confirms my theory. Some critters wanted to escape but failed and were caught. Maybe at that moment, Crafty Corn was painting and had a conversation with Dog Day. Then Catnap heard them and got rid of both. So my theory is that when we met on Dog Day, Crafty Corn was quietly dying behind the wall, or maybe he was eaten sooner, or he survived, and we'll see him in Chapter 4. Before we end this video, let's get to the big reveal of the new Smiling Critters lineup in Chapter 4. Cutie Susie is the first one I'd like to highlight. She's a very friendly panda who, at first glance, uses philosophical lines, telling us the world isn't just black and white. She also shows her kindness and says she'd be happy to guide us. But then her speech gets interrupted by some static, and what she wanted to tell us next is a mystery. Maybe she was trying to warn us of imminent danger, or maybe it was the opposite, and she wanted to trap us. What do you think Cutie Susie was aiming to share? Sweet Sheep is the next smiling critter to be released. This one's really intriguing in my opinion. So what's Sweet Sheep all about? She's quite unlike the others as she doesn't talk to us nicely. She's tough and straight to the point. According to her cardboard, she was pre-catnap, but what could that mean? Maybe she was the prototype's assistant before catnap, or perhaps Sweet Sheep was a supervisor at Playcare before catnap and had some special powers the kids loved. She also tells us the new smiling critters are too bright and instructs us to turn off the lights, saying we'll see a lot more detail in the dark. What's your take on this character? Little Skittle, a lonely squirrel, is another new smiling critter. Her cardboard reveals someone's always following her, but when she tries to find them, they disappear. Further into the conversation, she throws a tantrum, unable to understand why she's alone, and says she's about to start eating herself. She ends by telling us she hates this place and herself. Moody Moose is another prospective new smiling critter, a very shy moose. His cardboard shares he can't even remember his name when asked. We also learn that he seems new here, doesn't know what this place is, and asks for a bed, saying he's homeless. His speech, like the others, it's cut off by screams. Next up is Crocky Rocky, a green dinosaur who promises to be cool. We learn from him that he and Kickin' Chicken are brothers, and they were the coolest kids. He also tells us about locking Bobby Bear Hug in a closet. Then his conversation gets interrupted by a terrifying scream. There's also Riddle Rarafty, who appears to be a kangaroo. Her cardboard says she's a collector of various items, and she ends up showing us some human fingers from her collection. Her conversation, like the rest, concludes with a scream. One more character, Griffey Gingers, who's described as an avid prankster. His cardboard tells us he once tricked Miss Delight by putting a sharp pin on her chair. He then offers to help us pull off his best prank, hanging a water bucket over Miss Delight's office door to soak her. We also learn he got into Miss Delight's office where she was doing something with her sisters. Of course, his conversation finishes with a scream. Another new smiling critter is Tiki Tiger, who offers friendship and wants to spend time together, then abruptly shifts, saying he hates his critter friends for leaving him and that his revenge will be harsh. His speech ends with terrible screams. We've also got Snidey Spidey, a spider who loves scaring people. His cardboard says he gets his blood boiling when he sees scared faces. Like the others, his conversation concludes with a scream. The last new critter I'll mention is Bully Bolito, who immediately brags about his strength, telling us to exercise to be as strong as him. He also mentions his affection for Crafty Corn. And yes, his conversation ends with shouting. But I have a shocking theory, and it's that we won't see the new smiling critters as actual characters. I'd want them to share the story of the prototype incident and why Catnap became the way he did. But I think that info will only be revealed as we get closer to the new game's release. So what are your thoughts on the smiling critters? Who is still alive? And do you think they will return in Chapter 4? Be sure to leave your opinions in the comments. I'll be glad to read them all. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel to be the first to know about all the theories from the world of Poppy Playtime. That's it for today. See you soon.